welcome to Flutterbug Auto. Today I'm talking about a little game I've been enjoying for the last couple months called Off-Road Racing. Well, more specifically, it's called Off-Road Racing Buggy x ATV x Moto, but that's a mouthful, so we'll just call it Off-Road Racing. Despite the super generic name, this game is actually really fun and cool, and I've been having a wonderful time with it. It's got some great personality and gameplay, and it's quickly risen to the top of my go-to racing games list. Like, you know, racing games I'll go to play when I want to do some racing. This game is honestly a bit like a spiritual successor to the Excite Bike series, so it's kind of wild that I found this game immediately after exploring that series in depth for the first time. Particularly, it reminds me a lot of Excite Bike 64 and Excite Truck. It's a bit of a middle ground between those two. It's a bit more grounded in reality in terms of presentation and movement, like Excite Bike 64, but it's got crazy airtime and tilting and steering in midair and emphasis on boosting, like an Excite Truck. You're not going to be doing any crazy stunts or smashing through trees or anything like that. It's not in the realm of over the top, quite like Excite Truck is, but it's absolutely got that same flavor of gameplay. Like, if Excite Truck was a big crazy hamburger, then this game is just like a really good normal cheeseburger. There's a nice little metaphor for all of us Americans to understand. The game's big gimmick is the way it handles boosting. You press B to start a wheelie, and then afterward, a little timing challenge pops up, and if you press B again at the right moment, you'll get a boost. You'll get a chance to boost when you land properly from a big jump as well. It took me a bit to get a handle on initially, but once I got some practice in, it became a lot of fun, and it's always super satisfying to nail that timing and get a good chain of boosts going. And as mentioned, serious fucking airtime all over this game too. If you like flying through the air in a racing game, then boy, is this the game for you. You also have an absurd amount of freedom to steer and tilt your vehicle in midair. It's fucking crazy. And then landing with all your wheels on the ground and nailing a boost? Perfection. No nuts. The game's also got 3 different vehicle types, as alluded to by the title: buggies, ATVs, and motocross bikes. My favorite was the buggies, and what can I say, I'm a car girl after all, though I did also enjoy the bikes quite a lot. The ATVs I was less into. They tended to have a very slidey, slippery movement style that I didn't quite enjoy as much, but they're not terribly far off from the other two. They're basically just a version of the buggy that you can do tricks on in terms of gameplay. The bikes change stuff up a little bit by having their own slightly different drifting system, and also having much more air control than the other 2 vehicle types. You also have to pay more attention to tilting in midair to land on slopes properly. They are much more likely to crash when landing than the 4-wheel vehicles. I thought they were honestly really satisfying to play, even if I did like the buggies more overall. The drifting is pretty nice in this game too. You can get some really satisfying slides going, especially with the buggies, and especially on the rare occasions that you're driving on a paved road. One other gameplay aspect I particularly enjoyed was the swerve move. If you press the Y button while moving towards an opponent, you can just send them absolutely flying, especially if they're on a bike. It's absolutely comical. It's amazing. I'm also very fond of the visual design in this game. The locations are really fun and varied and have some really neat set pieces. I really like the crashed plains in the desert, these big over-the-top structures and ruins, the interesting little metal bridges and stuff that you drive over often. It's got a really distinct look to it and some really pretty lighting. This game's got some really nice sunsets. I also particularly liked this track with the huge bridge. The lights on it are so pretty. Really, really good vibe on that track. There's a lot of thought and effort put into the design of every track, not just in the visuals, but in the designs themselves. They're full of ups and downs and tight curves, as well as tons of branching paths and interesting shortcuts. Flying around these tracks is always a ton of fun. There's also a point system. Each Grand Prix, or season as the game calls them, has a style objective, which is just a certain score you're aiming to reach. Pretty much every action you take during the race adds to your score, so basically it's just a reward for playing especially well. There's also a lot of playable characters in this game, each with names and backstories, and personality descriptions, and well, it doesn't really do much in terms of the game itself. Like, there's no voice lines or anything like that. It's still a really great detail for a game like this to add, and really helps bring the game together and make it feel like a distinct world. Just that little bit of extra sauce that helps make a game feel like a full experience. I really appreciate it. I think I really only have a couple of issues with the game, which are that sometimes the collisions are a bit wonky, sometimes I'd completely ping off of something that didn't quite seem like I should. And also it's one of those games where it's unclear what counts as off the track or not. I'd get reset fairly often from going slightly off the track, and that's honestly kind of egregious for a game like this where it's all off-roading and such. It'd be nice if the boundaries are a little more clear. Like, maybe have a holographic barrier that pops up when you get too close to the boundaries. If you don't want to interrupt the landscape with fences or stuff like that. Just something like that would have been nice. It's not the worst thing ever. It's not like I'm getting reset every 2 seconds or anything, but it's definitely an annoyance. Also, I have to mention, I captured all of the footage in this video playing the Switch version of the game on the Switch too, and I just want to highlight what a difference that makes. Like, here's what it looks like on the Switch. It gets a frame rate of less than 30. I think it's just because they really didn't compromise much with any of the visuals. Everything is using real-time lighting and just like really detailed textures and shaders. Like the water is so detailed and has reflections, and the poor little Switch just doesn't keep up. Like, I think they just got it to a somewhat playable frame rate and called it a day. However, the Switch 2 can handle all that and then some, so it's a silky smooth 60 FPS on there. It's not perfect. There's some jank left over from a few things they did to get it running on the Switch, but it now looks and plays more than acceptably, and I'm extremely impressed. Like, this game didn't get an update or anything, it's just like this. Incredible. Anyway, my point being, don't play this game on the Switch. Literally any other platform is going to be better. I'm probably just go with the PC version. It goes on sale for dirt cheap super often, so I totally recommend it. Though actually, looking into the PC version's reviews, it seems like the optimization issues persist even there. So I think honestly, kind of bizarrely, playing the Switch version on the Switch 2 might actually be the definitive version of the game now. Also, according to reviews, the game seems to be really similar to a previous game by these devs. These devs also made Garfield Kart, by the way. First 2 Garfield Kart games are from this dev, by the way. Just throwing that out. But yeah, it's very similar to a previous game by these devs, just with added vehicle types. And people were kind of annoyed it's being sold as its own entire separate game instead of an update to that game. But at this point, if you're getting into it and starting with this game like I am, then it seems like it's the most fun to get. It's got the most stuff in it. So yeah, I had a great time with this one. It really surprised me because it seems like a relatively unknown and underrated game. So I was really excited to talk about it. The main thing that held me back from making a video about this game was having only the Switch version, and I knew that the Switch version was not the best with that frame rate and everything. So thanks to the Switch 2 miracle, I was able to give it a proper showcase already. Hope you all enjoyed this one, and hope you'll be looking forward to the racing content I've got coming up in the near future. See you soon!